you're going to do is you're going to transform me from this guy right now that's kind of chilled out in this room, David Goggins, to Goggins. I had to invent this person. David Goggins is an introverted, soft kid that got beat up growing up, and mindset had to lie to create friends, to get friends, to be accepted. I had to invent a whole nother human being to get outside of my comfort zone. And that human being became Goggins. Goggins is like the guy that walks out of the phone booth. He's like that Superman that walks out of the phone booth. I think we're all an underdog. I think the top CEO on the planet Earth still has that doubt. Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, the best on the planet. We're all underdogs. Whether you're underdog because you put yourself there to be hungry, or you're just a real life underdog. We're all an underdog. And so this is about the mind and people discovering the mind, their own mind. And one thing I know is we all have an equation. These smart guys that read these books, man, and they sit down, they tell you what the mind is supposed to do. No, I cannot give you a book. It's not like you do these 5 steps, you're good. No. And a lot of us listen to it, becomes like, this is it, man. This old man who has been studying the mind forever, this is the cap that we have. By being a practitioner, I went out and realized a lot of these guys are so wrong, man. The mind has capabilities that are so unknown. I found that through suffering. You no longer fail, man. You got it figured out. And there's a whole nother world on the other end of that.
We sleep 1/3 of our lives, and we think we can take days off. We think we have the right to sit back and give ourselves options on which way we're gonna go in life. Am I gonna run today? Am I gonna work out today? Well, it's Christmas. It's New Year's. It's my birthday. You think time gives a that it's Christmas, that it's New Year's, that it's your birthday? Let me tell you one thing. Time is running out. You keep on sitting around wondering what you want to do, you're just gonna run out of time. So make sure you do one thing. Stop following the crowd. They may take time off, but you can't afford to. Stay hard. A lot of us are off work today. Well, we have a long, long, long way to go. And this world isn't fair. It's fair enough. One big thing is this: fear. Fear keeps you from being successful. It keeps you making excuses for yourself. Fear lives one place and one place only, and that's in your mind. Always be ready. You never know when your next challenge is coming out of the blue. A lot of people need to have that special event that's down the road that gets them motivated to get ready for the next challenge. I'm telling you right now, every day in life presents the next challenge.
No. I don't stop when I'm tired, I stop when I'm done.
We go on these instructor-led runs. Most of the time we knew the start and end point. So on the way back, I started seeing people getting happy because the end was near. But there were some instructors that would hear the happiness and go right on past the end point. When that happened, everybody stopped talking. Heads would start dropping. And I started taking souls. At that time, I knew what happened in their minds.
Life is the most brutal endurance sport of all time. And that's what we have to love about it. We have to flip it on its head and love the fact that life continues to attack us. There are no timeouts. You can't just go like in a sporting event when the coach doesn't like something and call timeout. You have to figure it out on the fly. You have to be that person who's always prepared. But the solitude right now that a lot of us are dealing with is what we don't want to deal with. It's the fact that we have to think about all these things that we don't like about ourselves. We like to use life as a big escape. That escape is not there anymore. All these distractions that we use, they're no longer there. This is the time right now for you to stop avoiding things. Get that pen and paper out. Look inside yourself. Stop looking at me or other people out here to be the hero of your story. This is time for you right now in all that solitude to get to know who you are as a person. Be alone with yourself. Start to face these different things in life. Knowing one thing in life, we are all very fragile in this world. We have to know that when we die with some meaning and some purpose in this world. Stay hard. Most of us we live in a box, and we don't want to go outside that box at all, ever. Outside that box is all these possibilities of life. But what we do is we shackle our mind. We are a prisoner in our own mind that this is all I can do. This is all I'm good at. We take away the possibilities of you could be this, you could be that, you could be all these things. I never thought in my wildest dreams I could be a Navy SEAL. Open-mindedness creates that. We all shut down our mind. Like for instance, when I broke the pull-up record, everybody around me who heard the pull-up record was 4,020 pull-ups. That's the first thing they did. Oh my God. It's 4,020 pull-ups in a 24-hour period.
Yeah.
The first thing I did versus closing my mind to like, oh my God, that's crazy. Instead of taking life and making it out to be this grandiose thing, start breaking it down. Start breaking it down. And I never thought at 300 pounds I could be Navy SEAL. So if my mind was shackled, me and you would never meet. There'd be no book. There'd be nothing. So what people understand is that they live for themselves, not knowing that you have the power within yourself to change millions of lives by facing life, by facing yourself. And through that, I would die never knowing that I had the power to change millions of lives. God put me in a very interesting spot of life where He made hell my teacher. He made hell my teacher. And a lot of people don't understand that. So I'm trying to give people a different thought process of life where failure, hell, disappointment, discomfort is a great learning tool. And many people don't understand that. And a lot of people won't even understand this interview when we get done with it. But it's these few moments in life that you have. Like for me, I always talk about it. Rocky 1, round 14. That 1 2-minute and 13-second clip of Rocky getting up when Apollo knocked him down. That one clip, when I was going through a very bad time in my life, I saw what I wanted to be. And it wasn't a guy that won. It wasn't a guy that won everything he did. It was a guy that kept getting up after being knocked down. So I realized if that 2 minutes and 13 seconds changed my life, that's all it was. I saw something that I needed to be in the world I was living in. Maybe my story will give someone the 2 minutes and 13 seconds they need to change their life. Millions of people live in a very comfortable place. That's fine. Don't listen to me. A lot of people are looking for that 2 minutes and 13 seconds, and I might be that person. So I know how it is to be alone. You have to be able to flip alone on top of his head. I gained a lot of strength from having a sewer mentality. And what a sewer mentality is how many people can make it out of the sewer alone? With no coach, no trainer, no one to guide you, no one to mentor you, just having a straight up killer mentality, having a warrior mindset, having a round 14, I'm gonna get up mindset. And you have to learn to flip that loneliness into like total like power. And that's what I was able to do. I was able to like, you know what? If I can come out of this sewer that I'm living in my mind, if I can overcome all these things by myself, how much strength will I gain from this? And you gain a ton of strength from it. So that's how I looked at my life growing up. I stopped looking at all the bad things that life handed me. And I started looking more as the ultimate training ground for where I want to go. My most inspirational time is when I was 300 pounds and I was trying to lose weight, and I was having all these self-talks, trying to find strength all over my brain. So you start to have these different mantras, like almost every 3 or 4 seconds a different mantra comes up. And just there's a lot of power in that from being that underdog mentality. And whenever I go out to work out, it's not like I'm David Goggins now, 44, I've achieved a lot. Every time I go out to work out, I'm that 300-pound guy spraying for cockroaches, nothing. Because if you think that way, you can only achieve the best. If you've arrived and you go out there, I don't need to be out here doing this.
Mostly now for me, it's about going the distance. If I go out there every day trying to beat myself, that's gonna fatigue me. Every day I know that there's not many people doing what I'm doing, and that's enough. If you like bench pressing and you bench press all the time, what are you finding out? If you like to swim, that's all you wanna do is swim, what are you finding out? People talk about triple down on your strengths. No, triple down on your weaknesses. Find out something about yourself. You already know the good, you already know the happy. That's why on my Facebook page, I goes, why don't you talk about good times? You know how to get through that. You don't need no one to tell you how to get through. It's happy. That's easy. I'm gonna tell you how you can help yourself get through the times that suck. Real life. This is real life. 90% of your life will suck. 10% will be happy. You may be a lucky guy and have a lot of money, have a great ass woman, all this. Trust me, one-on-one with that guy, he's missing something. His life still sucks because he hasn't faced something that bothered him his whole life. Something is still eating you up, but maybe you found a good way, how I did growing up, on how to ignore that voice. At a young age, I realized that I had a very weak mind, and I want nothing to interfere with my own thought process. Like a lot of people before they go on stage, they get a little bit tipsy, get a little buzz, maybe smoke a little something, do a little something. I want to make sure that every single thing I feel is real. I want no masking. I want nothing to mask my ability to feel fear, to overcome fear, whatever it may be. I'm not saying that people who drink and do these different things are trying to hide. Some people just do it. For me, I think of it as almost like a masking agent, so then your mind doesn't have to work as hard, and that means I'm losing. I thought I had given 100%. When I was on that chair at mile 70, I thought I'd given 100%. And to go that last, I go, man, I wasn't even near 100%. So I came up with this thing called the 40% rule. It's like a car. You put a governor on a car, and they said the car can go 130. That governor stops the car at 91. And you're driving thinking, man, I want to floor it, but I can't go any faster. We do that to our brain. We put a governor on our brain. The second we feel pain, discomfort, suffering, all those words that we hate to say because we have this happy, peaceful world we live in now, we stop. We slow down. And if you can get through these different barriers and gain 5%, 2%, 3%, that 40% becomes 60. That 60% becomes 70, 80, and 90. And then you'll hopefully one day near 100. I don't know many people who probably at 100. We think we're there, but there's so much more. I didn't give 100% in that 101-mile run I did for the first time. So that's the scary thing. That's the scariest thing in the world. I didn't die. I don't care what age you are or where you're at in life. The second you stop doing that, you stop growing. You're growing in a comfortable world. You're allowing yourself to grow in a world that you are fine growing in. There's no real growth there. The real growth, you know where you should go. That's why you're not there. It's that place where you wake up and you're, man, I don't want to do this today. What people don't get though, the physical is what starts everything. People have no idea. People, man, why have you run 205 miles? It's not about that. It's not about being me. You have to challenge yourself physically every single day of your life. And that's where the growth comes from. The growth comes from there, 100%. It does something for everyone. It takes the growth in your mental aspect, in your spiritual, everything grows because you start feeling better about yourself. And not many things on the planet make you feel good about yourself like getting after it, doing something that challenges you mentally and physically every day. You have to be very aware of the conversation you're having while you're doing it, because your mind chooses the path of least resistance. Your mind has the ultimate tactical advantage over you. It knows what scars you, it knows your fears, it knows your insecurities, and it protects you. The 40% rule is all about the brain has the tactical advantage over you. It knows and it keeps you away from all that. That's why it says don't jump out of an airplane. Don't go in the ocean where there's sharks. It's a protective mechanism. Don't go back. The brain protects you, but protects you so much, it doesn't allow growth. So the brain is an amazing thing, but the brain controls you. You must control it. You must take power over your own mind, or your mind will guide you into all the soft places that your brain wants to live in. Your brain has enough information. It doesn't want to go through that process of mind hardening. It doesn't want to do that. I gotta remember what time I gotta be here, what time I gotta be there. This is where I want to stay. I'm peaceful and wants to stay very peaceful and away from scarring.
Take a day off. No one will know. But keep on thinking too. There's always someone out there who's working harder than you. I'm haunted by that, knowing that that someone out there is willing to forgo personal desires and comforts, forgo sleep, forgo whatever it takes to be better, to be the best. In life, a lot of times, a lot of us have that person out there. There may not be a name or a face to him, but he exists. You make sure in life when they think about that person, you make sure they put a name and a face to it. You make sure the name and face is yours. You do the haunting. Get in somebody's head. Own space. In those times when you want to quit, because we're all human, you make sure you remember one thing. All those times and hours and days you sacrifice to be the best. Stay hard.
I coach a lot of people nowadays, billionaires, who call me on the phone and say, man, I'm still missing something. It's because they did what they were good at. And they have this beautiful family, 2, 3 houses, cars, everything. Has everything to work. On the outside looking in, like, my God, man, how can you be unhappy? I walk around with a backpack with all my stuff in it, with no car. And I walk around happiest person in the world. Have nothing, happy as hell. It's because I found out the whole key to life. It's not in all that. You have to face yourself. So many people live to be 100 years old and they die miserable, having everything, because they never examined. I call it my live autopsy. You never examine this. Happiness, peace, enlightenment, it's all up here, man. It's all up here. And when I start talking like this, people go, man, no, it's the truth, man. It's all up here. You just gotta be willing to go and face it. And that's the hard part. It starts with yourself, man. You gotta start diving into those things that you are afraid of. You don't gain confidence by going to the spot that makes you feel good. It's gonna be a false reality. And the second life gives you that challenge, all you wanna do is go back to what made you confidence, or what gave you confidence, is that happy spot. No, what gives you confidence, what gave me confidence, was spending years at a kitchen table trying to learn how to read and write on my own. Realizing I can't learn the way you learn. I can't, but I can learn. What gives you confidence is not being afraid. It's overcoming the fear. I used to stutter severely bad. So right now, I don't know how many people are gonna watch this. You know what gives me confidence? Is knowing I no longer care if I sit here and start stuttering to you. That's what gives me confidence, is facing these things, overcoming them. And maybe not overcoming them every day, but facing them and facing them and facing them. Pretty soon like this, you know what, man, this is where it's at. It's not in that comfort zone. It's in the discomfort zone is where my confidence is getting built. That's where it's getting built. But people want an easier answer. There has to be an easier way. There's not. I'm sorry. I searched for it my entire life, and I still felt empty. I kept on feeling like I was getting over the hump. And then one little windstorm, small little windstorm would come by and push me back to scratch. It's like, why? Why am I not, I'm learning how to read now. I was a junior in high school and couldn't read that well, a 4th grade reading level, because I would cheat on everything. And I learned how to read, I learned how to write. I taught myself all these things, all these disciplines. But whenever the first real big challenge would come, that little windstorm would push me back in the hole. And I realized, man, I'm fixing stuff on a surface level. I'm all surface, man. I'm not going deep into the cellar of my mind and fixing the foundation of my soul. My soul is broken. But I knew I could fix it, but I was afraid to go back. I was afraid to face the demons of my life, because you start lying. You want anybody knowing this about you, so you start lying about who you're not and start creating a person about who you want to be, but it's not who you are. So that's when I started realizing, man, I'm never gonna get over the hurdle. I'm always gonna live on a surface level until I go deep, deep into the sewer of my mind to figure out and face all of these different demons. That's hard. It's hard. We all like social media. We all like everybody to see us for who we want to be. That's why we post beautiful things about us. That's not gonna fix you. So I realized that, and that's when I started going back. So I was about 24 years old, and I went from 175 to almost 300 pounds. And that's when I sat down on my couch and realized we gotta go back. So it's not like I had some mentors coming in to help me. You know, I'm 24 years old now, and I have to go back to all these things that no one knew about me in this group place where I'm in this place where these people are crazy and they think I'm crazy. And I'm looking at them thinking, I'm not crazy. You just don't know where I come from. I came from a place that truly damaged my mind, damaged my soul, and now I have to go back on my own to face this. So at 24 years old, I sat there a lot of times, even like one day, I woke up and said, I gotta face this. This haunting voice in my head kept on saying, man, we gotta go back. The only way we can go forward is to go all the way back. And that's very scary to do for everybody. Yeah. But the only way you're gonna fix yourself is to go all the way back to the beginning, to your childhood, because that's where everything starts. All of us, everybody thinks this, my God, like my marriage is messed up, this is messed up. You have to go back to fix all your problems. It all starts from the root, man. And you cannot fix anything by giving it Motrin. You have a jacked up knee, the swelling may go down, but it's still jacked up in there. You gotta get it fixed. You gotta fix the knee. All those pills do is just let the swelling go down. And you can live a little longer, but you're not fixing the problem. He said how we can't do something. If you're born a certain way, you can't become this way. To be somewhere, you had to be born with it, was the concept. And I did it. I did what he said we couldn't do. And I know what I was born with. And I know the battle that I had in my mind. So when he said it, I just sat there looking at my face, and somebody in the crowd asked me a question. And I totally contradicted everything he said. And I was like, nah, man, I know for a fact that you can, with the right mindset. It sounds so easy, with the right mindset. You can, but you have to go into those dark chambers that we often shut off, and you gotta open them up. You gotta open up and fight that demon, get in there, talk to them, say, what's up? Look at yourself, man. Look at yourself. I just got real with myself, and every day I came home, I called the accountability mirror. What am I gonna do today to change what I see in this mirror? What am I gonna do today? And a lot of it was, I stopped sitting with the cool guys. I actually tucked my shirt in and went to school looking like, hey man, this is how I'm gonna look. If you don't like it, so be it. I had to really wear this layer of skin. I had to develop a really calloused skin on me to take whatever you're gonna call me, you're gonna call me. Whatever I'm gonna be, I wasn't a geek, but whoever I am, you're gonna see me. You're gonna see me for who I am, because I need to change who I'm not. And that accountability mirror just became raw. And when I became fat over the years, because I fell back in the hole, I called myself fat, because I was fat. And people don't wanna do that. They wanna say, oh, don't call yourself fat. Don't call yourself dumb. If you're not real and raw with who you are, nothing's gonna change. And in this nice new world that we live in, we wanna hear, you're just a little big. No, man, you might be fat. And it's okay to hear that from yourself and from everybody else. So that's where it started at. And it's raw. And it gets ugly sometimes with me in that mirror, but I'm also proud of myself to be able to tell myself that and then fix what's in that mirror. For too long in my life, I wanted to be accepted. Growing up, I lied, I did what I could. If you like UFC and I didn't, I love it. I love it, man. Let's go watch it, man. Be my friend, be my buddy. I found out through this path of life, who is David Goggins? Who am I? I did it alone. There was no trophy on the wall, on the mantle. That trophy's in my brain. No one helped me get there. Nobody paid my bills. Nobody ran those miles, lost that weight. I suffered on my own and developed this man who said, it's who I am, man. A very competitive, ultra competitive dude that take it what you want, man. You have to realize you gotta call yourself out. Addressing it is very small. It doesn't go from like one morning, I'm this way, next morning I wake up and presto, 5 steps to greatness. No, it ain't that, brother. You read my book, this is hard work. It's every day, like right now. I had to be honest with you, man. I'm even shaking right now being on this show. I'm a big time introvert. How you address it is you face it. You face it every day. You face it every single day of your life, where you say, okay, like if you're fat and you need to lose weight, It's patience. It's patience in this fact of accepting who you are right now. I'm fat. I don't like myself. Accepting the fact that if you lose 3 or 4 pounds, that's a huge accomplishment. You have to live in your own world. You cannot judge yourself. That's why social media and all these things are horrible. You can't judge yourself off of the so-called competition that we have made up in our mind. The things that, how people look, how people act, how smart someone is. This is a race that you run completely alone. And you're all by yourself. I had tons of sticky notes all over my mirror. It wasn't like be better than John or be as fast as whoever. Okay, David, yesterday you did this. Today, our next goal for the week is this. So I had a year goal, weekly goals, daily goals, hourly goals, and the big goal was I lied a lot growing up. I wanted to be accepted. One goal was, let's go one day without lying. And then when I would lie to somebody, I would say, hey man, I had to go back now and apologize. Say, hey man, I lied to you. You know how hard it is to go back to somebody and say, I lied to you? Hey man, you know what? Back there, I lied to you, dude. I was really jacked up. So I figured out these ways of total accountability. Like right now, I had to run this morning before I talked to you. Because why? That's what I'm about.
We all like to take this 4-lane highway, the easy highway. It has signs, it has restaurants. We all love that 4-lane highway. We always step over the shovel. And all I did was I picked up that shovel, I made my own path. And you may have big boulders and they may be getting 200 miles up the road faster than you. But going through this path of life, this journey over here that you make yourself, that's incredibly difficult. When it comes out the other end of that, there's some glorious shit you can't even explain to people. And we're afraid. Bottom line is most of us, even the people who have all these theories, it's easier to accept the fact that I'm just not good enough. I wasn't made to do that. And yeah, some of us can't be LeBron James. But I'll tell you right now, man, we can do a lot when it comes to this pure arm guts and willpower. We have a lot more than what we think we have.
I talk about the new norm. When I lived in a $7 a month place when I was growing up for a short period of time, I loved it. I didn't know any different. That was my norm. Once we moved out of that place, we moved to a $236 a month place. I was like, I never want to go back to that little piece of shit. But if you go back to that $7 a month place and you realize this is where I live, this is all I got. Your mind says, roger that, this is home. So when I was going through Navy SEAL training for 18 months and going back through all the hard parts over and over again, I told myself after the first time, I knew it was gonna be a long journey there. My body was breaking down. It was just how it was going on. I said, you know what, this is my new norm. So my mind said, it's like going to work. Like you go to work, you put your suit and tie on, I go into suffering every day. Every day, suffering, being broken, duct taping my feet up, stress fractures, shin splints, being broken. This is my new norm. And your mind says, if we're not broken, this ain't normal. We gotta be broken. So then your mind starts to get tougher and tougher and more callous. People go, how'd you run on broken feet? Broken shins. My mind knew this is how we operate. We're in Navy SEAL training. This is what we are. I became hell. And that became my new norm. I gave myself no way out. There was nothing outside these walls of hell. Nothing. I love God, but for a short period of time, I became the devil because that was hell. I became the boss, the owner, the CEO of Navy SEAL training. That was my mindset. And that's how you get through things. You you immerse yourself wherever it is, and you become that. You become that and give yourself no way out. A lot of folks talk so much about, hey, I'm gonna change your life. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. Are you accountable for what you're doing? Are you accountable? And I mean to the T for what you're saying. I am. And that's where it started. It started with that total accountability of, let's not lie today. Let's tell people the truth about who you are. And when you can get on and tell someone, like I'm doing right now, exactly how jacked up you are, that's the goal in life. To put your life on a billboard, on the busiest road, in the busiest highway in the world, and say, this is how I used to be.
A lot of us dream big. You should dream big. Dreaming big is important. You know, some of us want to be doctors, lawyers, dentists. Some of us want to be in special operations. So you have this big dream, you can see it so clearly, like it's right in front of you. You can go out and touch it. But the thing about it is somewhere, if you dream big enough, somewhere down that journey, that dream becomes a nightmare. And what happens in that nightmare, you start to have all these questions, like if you want to be in special ops, you may not be a great swimmer. You may just realize that I'm not a great swimmer, I'm not a great runner. You may start to fail tests. And all these questions start to flood your mind. Why am I here? I'm not good enough. Trust me, I know all about the questions. They will flood your mind. If you do not have the answers for them, you will quit. The answers lie in the repetitions. You must not forget the repetitions you put into trying to dominate the craft that you're in today. Always, always embrace the suck, adapt to the suck.
So I started looking at these failures as blessings. Because with all these failures and all these bullies and all these being abused and my learning disabilities and stuttering and everything I had in my life, they are really gifts. And it's not some psychological babble that I'm using to say, oh no, my life wasn't that bad. No, my life sucked. But they truly were gifts because all these different trials and tribulations led my mind to where it's at now. And for the longest time, I put people who had better childhoods, better grades, better this, better that, I put them all above me. But now I'm on the same playing field as them. So when you get on the same playing field as these men who you think are better than you, you look at them eye to eye and you realize that they're not. You are thinking that this person came from a nicer house, better education, better mom, better dad, and they're better than you. It's not the case. You have this in you. You may have to dig a little deeper to find it. Their family may have started them off a lot better than you, but it's there. It's there. So I started really realizing how powerful the mind was. I figured out how the brain works. I'm a scared kid, and that's what gives me so much power. The feeling you get is basically invincibility. You realize that you can't do it all the time. When you need to do it, I know I can go to a place that I can live in. And when you know that you can run on broken legs and you can do certain things that a lot of people can do, but they're not willing to do, this power, it gives you this charge of energy of when you're sitting there at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning and you're duct taping your feet up because they're broken and you're doing it by yourself and you're already at a disadvantage, but you're still there. You can feed into that and tap into that for a lot of power. But if you look at it, well, I'm broken, man. Like, I'm not gonna make it. But if you look at it as, man, I'm broken and I'm still here. And I'm fighting and I'm gonna find a way to get through this because I have no other place to go. It gives you a lot of power. Mediocrity is everywhere right now. And we're always trying to find an easy way out. And we're judging ourselves. Let's say there's 10 people in this room and we're all mediocre. But I'm the best of the mediocre people. I now think I'm great. I'm great. We surround ourselves around people that make us feel great. They tell us what we want to hear. We don't want that person who's constantly challenging our weaknesses. We want that person who's constantly making us feel nice and good and secure in ours. That's the mediocrity of life. We want to be the best amongst the average people. People wonder, how do you stay hungry all the time? Because after I accomplish something, I don't sit back like a lot of guys who graduate buds, graduate this, graduate that. They get comfortable. They wonder why I'm getting weak, man. I don't know, I lost my edge. What's going on? Because once you hit the top of the mountain, guess what happened? I'm good. I'm good, so you wonder why you're falling down now. Because once you reach the top of the mountain, you got to build another one. That's mediocrity.
So I had a Q&A this weekend. This one guy there was super frustrated. So he's like, I gained 20 pounds. I can't find my why. I can't find my purpose. I can't find motivation. Can't find a gym. He went on and on. So I said, hey, okay, relax. Just relax. Can you find your balls? Once you locate those, I need you to grab them. After you grab them, I need you to go find some shoes. If you got some shoes, you can go walk. You can go run. As far as the gym you can't find, do you have a floor where you live? do some push-ups, do some sit-ups. We're waiting to find purpose. We're waiting to find why. We're waiting to find all this before we start. The thing about it is this: start now. So when you find your purpose and you find your why, you can get after it. Stay hard.
You know, the one gift I have is I have the ability to see the end before the beginning even begins. And what that means is I know that to get to the very end, I can see it right now. So before I went to Buds and I was losing all this weight, I saw myself walking across the stage at 191 pounds. That's what I had to get into the door. I saw myself 6 months, a year later, whatever it's going to take me to do it. I saw myself walking across that stage, getting that certificate of graduation from Buds. And I was able to be there at 300 pounds. And that feeling, that I was nowhere near that feeling, I was able to put myself there 1,000,000 times every day. And that feeling of like, my God, that is going to feel amazing. That's what made me suffer. That's what allowed the pain to be real and say, this is worth it.